Easter and at Christmas and on other special occasions. And in the morning yesterday, Pope Francis presided at the Easter morning Mass on a beautiful day like today, visited the crowds and the Jeep and the Pope-mobile there, greeting them closely, and then went up to the central lodge of St. Peter's Basilica, where he read his Easter message, which can be found, of course, on vaticannews.va, his Easter message, and then gave his blessing, Urbi et Orbi, to the city and Rome. Right now the cameras here are zooming in on the Apostolic Palace there, the window from which Pope Francis will greet everyone and lead the recitation of the Regina Coeli here. Some of you may notice those wonderful flowers, beautiful flowers in St. Peter's Square. They're from the Dutch florists who every year for decades now have brought in these incredible flowers to celebrate the new life of Easter in a wonderful way in St. Peter's Square. They also adorn the balcony, the central loggia from which Pope Francis gave his Urbi et Orbi yesterday. 38,000 flowers, 15,000 tulips, and 15,500 daffodils, and many, many other flowers there in the square. And now Pope Francis is appearing here at the window, as you all can see, and to inform our radio listeners.
Cari fratelli e sorelle, buongiorno.
Dear brothers and sisters, buongiorno.
Oggi il Vangelo ci fa rivivere l'incontro delle donne con Gesù risorto.
Today the Gospel lets us relive the women's encounter with the risen Jesus on Easter morning. It thus reminds us that it was they, the women disciples, who were the first to see him and encounter him. We might ask ourselves, why them? For a very simple reason. Because they were the first to go to the tomb. Like all the disciples, they too were suffering because of the way the reality of Jesus seemed to have ended. But unlike the others, they don't stay at home paralyzed by sadness and fear. In the early morning, at sunrise, they go to honor the body of Jesus, bringing aromatic ointments. The tomb had been sealed, and they wonder who could have removed the stone so large and heavy. But their wish to carry out this gesture of love prevails over all else. All else. They don't get discouraged. They overcome their fears and their anguish. So this is the way to find the risen Lord. This is the way to find the risen one, to come out of our fears and anguish. Let's run through the scene described in the Gospel. The women arrive, they see the empty tomb, and with fear and great joy, they run, the text says, to tell his disciples. Now, just as they're going to give this news, Jesus comes towards them. Let us take good note of this. Jesus encounters them while they're going to announce him. So this is beautiful. When we proclaim the Lord comes to us. At times, we think that the way to be close to God is that of keeping him close within us, because then if we reveal ourselves and start to talk about it, then judgments, criticisms come. Perhaps we don't know how to respond to certain questions or provocations. And so perhaps we think it's better not to talk about it and close ourselves up with it. Instead, this isn't good. The Lord instead comes while we proclaim him. This is what the women teach us. The Lord comes to visit us while we proclaim Him. That's what the women teach us. We encounter Jesus by witnessing to Him, by witnessing. Jesus we encounter witnessing to Him. Let's give an example here. Maybe sometimes we receive some wonderful news, such as the birth of a child. So one of the first things we do is to share this happy news with friends. Maybe someone's had a son or a daughter, and this is nice. And so by telling it, we also repeat it to ourselves and somehow make it come alive again for us. If this happens for good news, good news of every day, important news, it happens infinitely more for Jesus, who's not only good news, nor even the best news of life, but He's life itself, the resurrection and the life. Every time we announce it, not by propaganda or proselytizing, but not propaganda and proselytizing. We announce it, we share it. Not in a way of proselytizing. No. Every time we announce it, the Lord comes to us with respect and love, and we announce it with respect and love. So Jesus lives within us even more when we announce Him and share Him. So then Jesus dwells in us even more. Let's think again of the women of the Gospel. There was the sealed stone, and despite this, they go out to the tomb. And there was an entire city that had seen Jesus on the cross, and nevertheless, they go to the city to announce that He's alive. So when one encounters Jesus, no obstacle can prevent us from proclaiming Him. But instead, if we keep this joy for ourselves, perhaps it's because we've not yet truly encountered Him. So brothers and sisters, before the women's experience, we must ask ourselves, when was the last time I bore witness to Jesus? When's the last time I've witness to Jesus? Today, what shall I do so that the people I meet receive the joy of this proclamation? And again, can someone thinking of me say, this person is peaceful, happy, good, because he's met Jesus, met the Lord? So let's ask Our Lady to help us be joyful proclaimers of the gospel.
Resurrexit sic udicit, alleluia.
Ora pro nobis Deum, alleluia.
Gaude letare Virgo Maria, alleluia.
Quia surrexit Dominus vere, alleluia.
Deus, che per resurrezione Filii Tui Domini nostri Iesu Christi, mundum letificare regnatus est. Presta quesumus, ut per eius genitricem Virgine Maria, perpetue capiamus gaudia vitae, per Christum Dominum nostrum.
Amen.
Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto.
Sicut erat in principio et nunc et semper et in saecula saeculorum. Amen.
Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto.
Sicut erat in principio et nunc et semper et in saecula saeculorum. Amen.
Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto.
Sicut erat in principio et nunc et semper et in saecula saeculorum. Amen.
Pro fidelibus defuntis, requiem aeternam dona eis Domine.
Et lux perpetua luce a Teis.
Requiescant in pace.
Amen.
Sit nomen Domini benedictum.
Ex hoc nunc et usque in saeculum.
Aiutorium nostrum in nomine Domini.
Qui fecit caelum et terram.
Benedicat vos omnipotens Deus, Pater et Filius et Spiritus Sanctus. Amen.
Francis giving his apostolic blessing there. And dear brothers and sisters,
oggi ricorre il 25° anniversario del cosiddetto accordo del Venerdì Santo o di Belfast.
Pope Francis is recalling the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday agreements in Northern Ireland. I pray that the God of peace, that what's been maintained over those years in peace may continue to offer peace and harmony in that land. And I wish all the Romans and those visiting here a very happy Easter. The Lord is risen. He's truly risen. And I greet various parish groups coming from different parts of Italy. We can see them in the Zooms there in the square. Thank you so much for sending me your greetings and prayers for me, and may the Blessed Mother accompany you and bless you for all. And in this octave of Easter, may we live the joy and celebrate the resurrection in these 8 days in a special way. Let's pray for peace as well. Let's pray for peace throughout the world, especially in Ukraine. And please pray for me as I pray for you, and have a good lunch, and arrivederci. Pope Francis offering those concluding words after imparting his blessing, asking us to pray for peace in the world, remembering Ukraine in particular, and also remembering the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday agreements there in Northern Ireland, and praying that peace and that harmony may continue. Thank you all for joining us here for this Regina Coeli, the recitation of the Regina Coeli led by Pope Francis. A blessed and happy Easter to you all. You can find a summary of today's Regina Coeli on VaticanNews.va and much more, including highlights of these Easter and Holy Week celebrations these days. Thank you for joining us. Laudetur Jesus Christus. Praised be Jesus Christ.